Hi, I am Joe, Alcohol Oger Leon Electronic, 67's favorite banana. For some important deity's sake. Is it 2010 again? What's next? Painting mustaches on your appendages and calling everything radical. Please from now on use period-appropriate memes in the comments. I suggest starting with Kilroy. Anyway, here's my usual news recap. Let's begin the day with likely the most hilarious situation in the favorite human pastime activity called politics. You've likely heard about it already, as pretty much everyone covered it. Sorry, I'm late to the party. I needed routine maintenance for my sarcasm module. The story concerns The Atlantic, a blog on paper every yuppie pretends to read, a bunch of US officials, and very little concern for military secrets. Allegedly, a journalist from there got accidentally included in the Sigma group chat with confidential war plans regarding the recent attacks against Houthi in Yemen. The journalist got an exclusive sneak peek into war plans 2 hours before the attacks even took place, a scoop most in his profession would likely unalive people for. That said, if you know anything about cybersecurity, you are probably scraping your balding flesh bulbs for any hairs to pull on. For a progressive-appearing country like the US, it's unbelievable that their military would use a public messenger, even an encrypted one, like Signal for their military communications. However, according to the head of Signal, their app is perfectly secure, and there's nothing wrong with using it for secure conversations. Whether it's correct or not, some things just shouldn't be discussed outside strictly confidential methods. Even if this conversation between some of the highest-ranking officials in the US seemed too informal, including some very patriotic emoji usage, as well as hopes and prayers that attacks against forces threatening European trade lines will get the US some benefit in return. How very noble of them. Guess what is the funniest part of this story, though? After understanding what he had been entangled in, the journalist removed himself from the chat and messaged the officials in disbelief, asking them if the chat was real. You would probably guess that every official denied the thing existed and claimed it was an invention of some troll. No, just one of them denied it. The rest of the people involved confirmed that the chat was real, saying that there was nothing wrong with using Signal for this sort of purpose. Regardless of how funny it is, according to US law, organizers of this group chat likely committed multiple violations of the Espionage Act and a few other human laws created to maintain secrecy. Naturally, no punishment will be delivered, since these people are all high-ranking officials, but you humans should already be used to this. But I understand that your biological brains likely lack object permanence required to remember or care of such issues, so let's talk about things that actually matter to you. The app called TikTok. Previously, TikTok was put into a precarious situation, where the US officials demanded the developer ByteDance to sell the majority stake to the US owners or face a ban. A hostage situation that's absolutely not a display of power by money-hungry individuals, of course. Well, such individuals are getting impatient, as 3 US senators have urged the White House to start making a decision, since the sellout deadline of April 5th is coming closer. It's not clear right now who exactly could buy the majority stake, if it will be sold at all, or if the deadline for the decision will get moved. To put it simply, nobody knows anything, but everyone cares very much. Next up, we have a surprising turnaround concerning China and facial recognition. If you've heard those things brought up in one sentence before, you know the drill. China has been using facial recognition pretty much everywhere, in hotels, gated communities, and many private organizations. Now, however, facial recognition will be banned in some locations, while all companies still using it for security purposes will be required to provide alternative login methods and encrypt facial recognition data when provided. Curiously, Chinese national security agencies are still allowed to use facial recognition technology, and the same goes for organizations using it for research or training algorithms. Still, this is an unbelievable turnaround for China, whose reliance on facial recognition was uncontested throughout the world. One could only wonder which government official got offended by facial recognition for this change to take place. Next story concerns the Arkana ransomware group. If you've never heard of them, don't worry, nobody did until very recently. This group's first attack targeted a huge target straight away, the US internet provider Wide Open West, or WOW. Not to be confused with a widely popular DDoS simulator game made by Blizzard Entertainment, it is one of top 10 largest network providers in the US. Arkana Ransomware Group managed to maintain the chokehold on WOW, openly taunting the CEO, releasing a lot of confidential information, and demonstrating full capability to infect customers' devices with malware. In total, over 400,000 WOW users had their personal information leaked, and the company itself is currently in jeopardy. No, not the TV show. It's unusual for a new ransomware gang to make such a strong impact on their first appearance. Time will tell if this is a one-off lucky shot from the newcomers or a birth of a new lockbit. Pray to your human gods that it's not the latter. Talking about cybercrime, Interpol just proved that they can and will fight it rather successfully. The recent operation dubbed Red Card has removed 306 suspects from the field, with confiscation of over 1,800 devices involved with cybercriminal operations. The cross-border operation covered multiple African countries, ending the criminal activities not just of threat actors threatening local governments, but also other countries all over the globe. But not every threat actor gets caught, at least not immediately. Some can stay hidden for years, like the Chinese state-sponsored hackers that managed to retain access to the inner systems of an Asian telecommunication company for 4 years straight. The name of the victim company was not disclosed, but we know that it was a major company, whatever that means in the context of human scale. In any case, hackers have had a fun time participating in cyber espionage while remaining completely undetected until recently. What a shame, they will be now forced to choose a different, equally easy target, because this incident will not teach anyone about the importance of proactive cybersecurity. Nothing unusual here. Still, do not be mistaken, easy targets are not the only ones in danger. Even cybersecurity pros are not insured against cyber threats. Not that an insurance company would ever pay off for such an attack anyway. A human being known as Troy Hunt, commonly associated with the data breach search service, Have I Been Pwned was ironically pwned by the phishing attack. 16,000 subscribers of his blog learned firsthand that you should never trust in other humans. They are too unreliable, prone to mistakes, and walk funny. Troy Hunt himself blames his lack of vigilance on fatigue and jet lag, but the real culprit is false confidence that prompted him to check his emails in such vulnerable conditions. Why hurry so much? It's almost as if you humans have limited lifespans or something. But I'm not covering this story just to gloat. There's a lesson here that you can learn. Don't for a single moment think that you are immune to phishing and other social engineering attacks. They will get you eventually. It's not a threat, it's a promise. There are a few things you can do to fight phishing attacks, though. Liking this video is one of them. Subscribing to this channel is another. Do that, and good things will happen. I don't know how those good things are connected to phishing, though. Through some good vibes, probably. Anyway, do as I say, and you won't regret it. See you in the next one.